yeah. Lights on, game time, let's break it all down. From the spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way.
Welcome back to Spreadsheets Sports. It is week 14 in the NFL, and this is the second episode, which is dealing with specifically the division games, okay? You probably have already seen the episode for the conference games. This is going to wrap up and bring under the microscope just the division games that we have on the slate. And as always, I also do have all of the games at the very end of the show, and you can screenshot that if you don't want to hear me talk about the different ways the games may go. I have a couple games I'm putting under the microscope. There may be some upsets, so you can take a screenshot of those matchups as well when we get to those particular games. But I just really wanted us to have a hyper focus and like a source of reality in regards to how these games may go. Because conference is one thing, and that's why I wanted to separate this. Conference is one thing, and they'll play and they'll play each other hard. Division, when those games are also like much needed wins, you talking about some dog fights that may have some outcomes that you're just not looking for just because of division games. Like I can't explain it to you. If you watch football and you've been watching football, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're new to the sport, division games are interesting. It could be the scenario where the Chiefs can be 10-1, and when they gotta go play the Chargers, they're gonna win one and they're gonna lose one. Even when the Chargers are bad. Same thing with the Raiders. The Raiders can be horrible like they always are, and they'll be 2-8 against a 10-1 Chiefs, and it will be a 17-14 game. I can't explain it to you. It's just what it is. But anyway, we're going to dive into the show. Those that are here for the first time, I think you are in the right place. I actually know that you are. Not pounding on my chest. I'm just telling you, like I'm a very intuitive person. I'm a very observant person, and I think I have an idea of what the marketplace would like to have out here. And I try to create the show with that mindset of how am I adding value to the people that watch? How am I solving a problem that they might be dealing with? Whether it's a problem of like, should I do this bet or that bet? Should I bet in this type of strategy? Should I look at the game this way or that way? Like, I'm trying to help you answer those questions as much as I can with the help of data. So if you're new to the channel, we use data, algorithms, predictive models, simulators, all of the above that are built into the spreadsheets. That's why it's called Spreadsheets Sports. I'm not using anything like super duper high tech type thing. AI has assisted me with building all of the different models that I have as well, in addition to my mindset and my formulas I had already. And that's what you got. So I hope you find value in the show. Those that are returning to the show, thank you so much for returning. You always know I have a special place in my heart for you. I put together something really, really nice for us guys. I really, really like how this thing is unfolding for this particular show because I just listened and watched the episode for the conference games, and man, we got ourselves an interesting weekend. So let's dive in. And if you do find value in the show, newcomers and also those that have been here before, please like, comment, share, or subscribe. Without you, the channel would not grow the way it has and the way that it will be in the future. But let's dive in and let's see what we got. So, guys, I wanted to share this with you just so that you have an idea of the location that you're at, right? If you're wondering, like, who is Spreadsheet Sports? What have they done? Why should I even listen to them? I do okay. Okay. All right. So right now, overall, I have a 70% win ratio. In comparison to covers.com, DR, which stands for D rate. GG is a guy I follow on YouTube. Greek Gridiron, and RT is Ross Tucker, and I track their predictions in comparison to mine. And in comparison to the data is just going to be the math, right? So as it stands, you see up at the top up here, we have a graph that shows the progression over the weeks and how I've been doing. The dotted line is me, and that just gives you an idea. The green line is the data, and you can follow it from there. So far, so good. I'm staying competitive with all of the other predictors that are out there, or cappers as they call them in our industry. Um, so I use this to kind of keep me focused and keep me on the right path, because if you're just doing it by yourself with not even checking yourself, then you won't know if you're on the right path or not. So hope this helps for you guys in regards to credibility. But this is my results in regards to the games that I picked and how I picked them. You'll see throughout the show if this is your first time. But just want to share this with you. But let's dive into our slate. So here's your slate of division games, the dog fights. In the trenches, fighting for a position in the individual divisions. Oh man, teams that need to win, teams that are like straddling the fence, teams that need other teams to lose so that they can try to move up the ranks. This thing is on fire. I you can't help but to get excited about, like, not the way that game is going to outcome, but the activity involved in these games, and the player props are nuts. It could go any way, but at least you know the players are going to be out here participating. As long as the quarterback can, like, diversify their distribution of the ball and check down appropriately so we can keep getting plays, then there's a lot of room for activity, i.e., player props. But anyway, I'm going to share with you guys the slate here, and I'll dive in and pull a couple of the other games under the microscope to see if we got any upsets possibly. And we'll go from there, and we'll wrap everything up with the bonus bets, and we'll get you guys out of here. So strap in, let's get serious, and let's talk about what we're looking at. The Dolphins versus the Jets. I think it's a trap game, guys. Division game, 1 o'clock. Weather's not an issue. It's 40 degrees. Weather is slightly going to be blowing. And the thing is that the Jets have shown that they can put up production, not from a consistent perspective, but they can. And they've already been doing these type of games and coming close to some of the other losses that they've had, where they just were like, man, they were right there. They've gone through their challenges this season with personnel, and it's just been a rough ride for the Jets this season. Up against the Dolphins, who kind of have had the same type of challenge, not same type of challenges, but they had their own challenges. Losing Tyreek Hill with that injury, that severe injury, season ending, hopefully not career ending. Hopefully he'll be back and he'll be healthy, and rehab is going well for him now. But without him, Tua has had to figure out a way to make things shake, and he has. Only problem is, I heard a statistic which was that Tua has never won a game in 40-degree weather in his career. I looked it up, and it's true. I don't want to use that to make my mind up about this game, but I'm going to keep it there somewhere in my head that this guy has problems in the weather. Okay. And we're at that part of the season where cold weather is going to affect other teams differently than others will so much. Okay. So, with that being said, Tua may have some challenges with performing the way that we consistently know him to do. Waddle, he got a whole host of things that he could use, right? But him and the Jets are coming into this game, and their offensive lines are winning the battle. So that's going to buy them both time to sit in the pocket and pull things apart. It's not going to snow. It's not raining. It's not even cloudy. So you're going to see production in 40-degree weather. That's not too cold for a receiver to catch the ball. Okay, so they're not going to be complaining about the balls feeling like a brick unless it was 20 degrees out there like some of these other games. I think it's 16 degrees for the Bears game. The ball gonna feel like a brick. Center block. But dealing with this game again, like I said, I think it's a trap game. I'm going with the Jets. Um, the data says that you should be going with the Dolphins, and I can't argue against that. Point wise, the algorithms have it at 21-19. So at 21-19, 21-18, that's too close for me. If it was 21-7 that the data was projecting it, then I would be like, nah. But with it being projected that close, I'm going to give some mistakes to the Dolphins to make. Tua having challenges with the weather and the climate, and the Jets take advantage of that, and they get a trap game win. Steelers and the Ravens. I'm going to pull that one under the microscope along with the Colts and the Jazz game, and then we'll get back to the slate. But I wanted to really look at that game under the microscope because it could go either way for both games, but I needed to look at it real hyper focused and let's see if there's anything that we might be missing. I'm in Manila. I don't know if any of you guys that are watching the show has been to a game like this in person. I've been to some Chiefs games that were some rivals, and I went to a Chiefs Bills game one time that was off the chain. I have never gone to a Steelers and Ravens game, and I am thinking about trying to pull it off. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna put it this way: if the universe allows me to do it, where I wake up in the morning and it's some tickets at a decent price, I may holler at my homeboy and be like, "Yo, we going to the game." And he's a Ravens fan, so that'd be amazing to go see your team play at 1 o'clock, and it's a division rival game. Like it don't get no better than that in NFL season. And it's gonna be cold out there, going to freeze our ass off, but it'll be a good experience if we end up out there. I'm not sure yet. Dealing with the game. Steelers coming into this need a win. They got 6 wins. The Ravens have 6 wins as well. Lamar is back. I can't say that he's back and he's healthy. But he's playing. He was running real gingerly not too long ago in these last couple of games. Not the Lamar that we're used to seeing that can strike out and go and get that first down. He's hesitant, and on top of being hesitant, he's getting tackled and or sacked, depending on where he gets brought down. So he's been sitting down taking sacks too unnecessarily. So those two things, I want to keep that in my head also about Lamar. But also, I want to deal with the defenses. You got the Steelers, which is really weird that they are a number 25 team in regards to defense this season for yards allowed. Not as a whole, but for yards allowed, they're number 25 team. They're allowing 247 yards in passing and 118 yards on the ground. They're up against a Baltimore Ravens team that can easily get 180 to 225 in the air and still score 2 times with just those numbers. Lamar don't have to throw 300 and 400 yards to score. He gets in, he's stealth, he gets it done, the points are on the board, he's back sitting on the bench waiting to get back on the field. That's how the Ravens do. That's also an Achilles heel for them because they score too fast and they don't manage the clock better. Right? So with that being said, I'm gonna have to really take all of that into consideration in regards to whether or not the Ravens can produce. Yes, even though it's not in Pittsburgh, the Steelers are going to come in here and play some division ball, like I was talking about in the intro. It's going to be something that has nothing to do with the data. It's just all about ego and pride. Pride for your team, pride for your city you representing in the NFL, and it's just going to be a dogfight. They're going to be chippy out there too. They're going to be touching each other and they're going to be fighting and throwing jabs, and it's going to be that bumping up against shoulders. Like I wish you would. I wish you'd say so. It's going to be that. Flags going to be thrown. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Might see a couple fights. You might see several fights in the stands. The fans are nuts. This rivalry is crazy. This is almost as insane as going to a Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees game. I've seen people throw beer cans at just strangers just because they got on a different size jersey. It's nuts. So I may rethink going to this game so I don't get trampled on by mistake just because I'm there. Like I might pass on that. But anyway, back to the game. On the defense side for the Ravens, they are allowing 232 yards and they are allowing 118 yards in rushing also. So you got equal. They match each other on the amount of yards they allow for rushing, which means Gainwell should have a pretty good game, right? The Ravens don't blitz that much, but they may want to take advantage of blitzing. I mean, they do blitz 10 times, but they've gotten better over the last 4 games. They started out the season like blitzing only like 7 times a game, which is crazy. They started blitzing, things got a little bit better because they can shake things up from the quarterback side, and that's just kind of where things land. But with a mobile Lamar Jackson that's not really 100% against an Aaron Rodgers that's not looking that good, I hope he retires at the end of the season. God bless his heart and just ride off into the sunset, bro. It's a wrap. But can Aaron Rodgers produce in this environment? He's going to do his 2-3 step drop and he's going to jump off. Metcalf is going to be a huge target, probably underneath instead of over big. Um, the linebackers are pretty good on pass coverage for the Ravens, so I'm not sure what Metcalf is going to be able to do right behind the linebackers, or he might get lucky. Um, Darnell Washington is going to be another one. Pat Fryermuth is another one. You'll see them getting the ball on quick dump offs from Aaron Rodgers, right? On the other side with the Ravens, I definitely like Likely. I love Mark Andrews in this game, and I like D Hop to pop up and get one catch for about 20 yards. That's why I like that bet for 16 and receiving for him. I really love that bet. I like Lamar Jackson for 2 passing touchdowns as well. I like field goals too, so I'm kind of like straddling the fence with this game because I really don't. I probably have 2 different tickets for this game because one ticket will be Lamar being in this game highly evolved and maybe he's better healthy wise than we think he is, and he has some time to, do some rehab and he's good now, right? Maybe it's that, and he's going to be an amazing superstar like he is. And if that happens, we see the 2 passing touchdowns by Lamar. If he's not, and he's what we've been seeing, then I like field goals. And I don't know which game we're gonna see, so that's why I gotta do the 2 tickets. But I'm gonna swap out the 2 passing touchdowns for field goals just because of that. But he has a lot of weapons as well. Rashad Bateman might come out of nowhere. Just this guy and Lamar's good when he's good, and they got a run game through Derrick Henry, he's a bulldog. So that's first downs. I don't see how they can't convert, even though the Steelers are going to be chippy. It's just going to be one of them mentally intimidating games, not necessarily like defensively suffocating games, but they're going to be getting in each other's heads, talking junk, trying to get a flag, and also pop something off. It's going to be that. Great game to watch. If I had to choose who's going to win the game, I'm going with the Ravens to win this game. Tight. 1917. 1917, maybe 23-21. 23-21 or 23-17. Ravens. That's what I got. Versus the Jags in Jacksonville. Weather is going to be an interesting issue with this game. It's in the rain. Um, will that affect things? I think it will. I think it affects the outcome. Colts are coming into this game and they have some injuries on the offensive line, and that may inhibit Daniel Jones from being Daniel Jones throughout the season, doing pretty good and looking pretty good. And he's going to have to rely heavily on Jonathan Taylor, which is not a problem. And on top of that, the Colts win the battle at the offensive line. So with winning the battle at the offensive line in the rain, having to revert to rushing, the Indiana Colts stand to be able to get some production. If the rain is not as bad and it has some pockets of dryness and they can get some passes off, then they can also do that. Alec Pierce is one of his weapons. He also has Mitchell. and I think also he has downs also, and he also throws the ball sometimes to Taylor in the slot screen for that play. So Daniel Jones has some weapons. He's going to be protected. They win the battle at the offensive line. They actually have the second offensive line in the NFL right now. So with that being said, with not that many injuries on the offensive line, I like them. I mean, they have some on the offensive line, but with them already being a number two offensive line, whoever's stepping in should be able to fill the gap, and they should be. I would rate them at a number 9 or 10 offensive line, and they still win the battle at the line. On the Jag side, Trevor Lawrence. With Trevor Lawrence, I like him to have a good productive day. I think he's going to run a little bit. He's going to definitely come out that pocket, especially with the fact that the Colts do run some blitz, but not a lot. But the fact that the Jags lose the battle of the offensive line, that means the pocket's going to collapse a little bit more than Trevor Lawrence would like. And with that being said, I like Lawrence coming out of that pocket for first downs, or either running on bootlegs, nothing's there, and he's going to get another 3 or 4 yards or the first down. I like those type of plays for him with his feet. In the air for Trevor Lawrence, he can give you a show sometimes. He's only averaging around 200 yards a game. However, up against a defense that allows 240, I'll give him 225. He can get the ball in the air 225 if the weather permits. But with it raining, he's going to have to rely on his feet. He's also going to have to rely on the Cheney. He's going to have to deal with Brenton Strange on some easy dump balls. That's his tight end. He got to make it happen. He got to make himself available. Jacoby Myers is also going to be a threat. Maybe he comes down. He's a huge target for Trevor Lawrence, so maybe he comes down and catches some balls underneath the coverage. I'm not sure which defense we're going to see out of the Colts. On the secondary side, they do like to run the nickel in a 3-quarter, and they have a 4-3 front. So I'm not sure which one we're going to see. But when it comes to the red zone, even if either team does get into the red zone, who will let the person score? The Jags, which is why I'm a little optimistic about the Colts, even with the injury issues that they got. Because the thing is that the Colts are able to score. They've been able to score all season. They can show you that they can make production, right? But in this game, they're up against a team that allows 63% of the attempts to score on them in the red zone. So with that being said, as long as the Colts can get down there, they got a better shot to get 6. And if all else fails, take the 3, because the Colts do get at least 1.9 field goals a game, and they have a 92% ratio of making their field goals. So that's good to know that they got that in their arsenal. On the Jags side, they're up against a team that is allowing 56% of the attempts against the red zone. It's against the defense in the red zone. So with that being said, there's a half of a chance that whatever the Jags try to do in the red zone will work. But let's not forget, this is the same Jags that beat the Chiefs, and Trevor Lawrence had that miraculous play where he fell down, he got back up, and he dove in. It was amazing. It was like big Vitali type action, man. It was crazy. It was a crazy game. I remember watching that game this year, and he did that. So let's not forget that Lawrence is resourceful. Lawrence is a good quarterback. Please do not let your bias get in the way of like acknowledging that and knowing that he sometimes can be outside of the data that you'll look at. So, with all of that being said, if I had to choose somebody to win this game, I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna bet on Trevor Lawrence to win this game. I'm gonna also bet that the Colts are going to be able to produce something. I'd rather go with points in this game. I'll take 16.5 points in this game. I'll take over 2.5 field goals in this game as well. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I like the upset with the Jags to win on the upset, but if you're scared to take the upset, at least take 17 points for the Jags. You can take 19 points for the Jags, actually. I think this might be 21-17, 21-19, 24-23, maybe. And maybe not even that. I like better. I love better 19-17 in the rain. A lot of field. That's the three field goals. 19-17 in the rain field goals. Couple slippery balls that dropped, and you got some turnovers. Special teams is going to be huge in this for extra points, but that's where I'm at with this game. All right, back at the slate, we got the Bucks hosting the Saints. I think the Saints are going to put up some production. They're going to put up some points, maybe 14 points. I think that they can get themselves together to do. I like the Bucks to win this game. The data says that the Bucks are going to win this game. The data has them winning by at a 70% percentage, or probability percentage of win rate. So with that being said, I definitely like the Bucks. The only thing I'm worried about is Baker Mayfield sitting down and taking sacks. He sits down in the pocket. They do win the battle at the offensive line. There's also a report out that Mike Evans may play. That's a might, not a definite. If he plays, I think he goes to him a couple of times. I'm not sure he's going to be like heavy on him. He got Godwin back, right? So that's been working itself out along with the rest of his weapons. As long as he don't sit down and take a sack and he don't do any turnovers, interception, and fumbles, the Bucks should win this game. Broncos and the Raiders game, division game, dogfight. Man, the Raiders ain't got nothing to lose or win for. They're just doing this for the pride of the division. That's it. Bo Nix is going to have his way with them. Geno is not going to be able to stand against the Broncos defense, which is why I'm not pulling this under the microscope. The Broncos are going to dominate on defense, probably hold the Raiders down to 10 to 14 points, and the Broncos are going to score 21 to 27 points, and they're going to win this game. Bo Nix may run a little bit. He doesn't have to. His weapons are going to get it done. Um, that's just where I'm at with this game. I just it's not really a lot to go off of to really contend it for, like to contend for the Raiders. But I don't even see field goals in this game. I would take under 5 field goals if I had to do a field goal bet on this game. But that's where I'm at with this game. The Bears and the Packers, we're gonna look at this one underneath the microscope. But before we do, I'm gonna tell you the Rams are going to win against the Cardinals. I'm not going to come back to the slate because I'm going to look at some other stuff for you guys to wrap this up after we look under the microscope for the Bears game. But I'm going with the Rams. Brissett and the Cardinals. I think Marvin Harrison is fine. He'll be there. Brissett's going to play. They're going to put up some points. I would take points for the Cardinals in this game. The Rams are coming off of a loss. They're going to try to destroy the Cardinals. Weather's not an issue. They're in a dome. Everybody's going to run a little bit faster, but the Rams are going to like really try to. They're going to pulverize the Cardinals. I know it's a division game, and those are supposed to be tight, but it's not a good matchup. The Cardinals are not going to take it laying down either. They're going to put up points. I'm not saying a shutout. But it's the gap is going to be huge. So if you like the spread on this game, this might be a good one for the spread. The Rams are going to really outscore the Cardinals, and they're going to kind of suppress them as well. And the Cardinals might even come in the mindset like they don't even care. I don't know. I don't know which Cardinals we're going to see. We will see. But let's jump into the Bears and the Packers game under the microscope, and then we can get you guys out of here. This is an interesting game to look at. Division and on top of that, two pretty good teams. I don't see where you can look at this game and then automatically go to the Packers, right? I know that's where the books are going. That's why they have them favored. And I get that part. But let's at least do our due diligence to look at the game and look at what we're really looking at, okay? With that being said, all right, the Bears are a number 11 team. The Packers are a number 7. Okay, let's get that out of the way. In regards to just ranking as a team overall, then let's look at the coaching staff. The Packers have collectively a number 15 coaching staff, right, with LaFleur. And then you got Ben Johnson over here with a number 20 plus ranked team, ranked coaching staff. So there's a possibility of the Packers out coaching the Bears, maybe. Who wants it more, right? The Bears are coming in this game with 9 wins, and they on the streak. The Packers got 8. Both of them are hungry, and both of them like the Bears are on a great run right now, and a loss could like mess up positioning. So it makes more sense to like try to fight these guys now and not wait to see if anybody else can knock them off. The Bears are going to try to knock them off themselves instead of letting somebody else do their dirty work. There's going to be some grown man activity out here this game. Manhandling. The toughest competitor in this game will come out victorious. And both of them are tough. Both of them are good on offense. Both of them are good on defense. Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Packers, Michael Parsons on that edge. Like, it's a lot going on, and they all got like superstars from Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Musgrave is like underrated. You know what I mean? Caleb Williams doing his things. DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze, except Roma Dunze not going to be playing. Roma Dunze is injured, but that's just the supporting cast of these teams. Caleb Williams is going to be able to make his adjustment and hit all of his other targets with Roma Dunze being out. Okay? Let's just say Roma Dunze not playing and the adjustments that Caleb's going to make. Maybe that shrinks their passing yards by 30 to 40 yards that they won't get because of that adjustment and Roma Dunze being out. Because Roma Dunze is going to get you anywhere from 60 to 80 yards on an average, right? So with that being said, we'll go to 30 yards, probably less than they would if Roma Dunze was playing. And that's still a decent number because they're putting up 220 minus 30 is like 190. You can win a game with 190. Caleb Williams can with his feet as well, extending the play, getting first downs, finding players that are open, dumping it off to them, pumping and doing the pump fake, and it's like he can get to the first down and get a new fresh set of downs so they can try again and get down into the end zone. When they're in the end zone, both red zone defenses are allowing half of the plays or the attempts to score on the end zone. So with that being said, both teams coming down and they have about a half a percentage of a chance to score. Now, with that being said, though, the Green Bay Packers, in regards to the yards allowed, are number 5 defense, and they're up against a Bears defense that is like a number 28, allowing 225 and 134 yards on the ground. The Packers only allow 96 yards on the ground. Can Swift have a good enough game? I think Swift can get 60 of those. If let's say Swift can get 60 to 70 of those 98 yards, right? And Caleb can figure out a way to get 180 to 190 yards passing. Because if Swift can get going, it opens up the pass game, right? Caleb Williams running around. What can't happen for the Bears is that they cannot get behind. They can get as far as 10 points behind before it's over. Because Jordan Love will stretch them out and he will go ahead and put the knife in and pack the wound with salt, and it's a wrap. He is fragile, though. You can put your hands on him, you might get him out of the game. Not wishing that upon him. I'm just talking about the probabilities of things because the Bears defense only blitz 9.2 times out of the game. They put their hands on the quarterback 21% of the time, which means that they're not going to like really terrorize Jordan Love back there. On the flip side, Michael Parsons in the defensive line, they only blitz 6.7 times out of the game. They don't put a lot of pressure in the game. And you're in a game where both quarterbacks have an offensive line that wins the battle. So they have the ability to sit back there and pick everybody apart. They can check down pretty good. If you watch both of these quarterbacks, they do very well with checking down and really trying to see what type of defense they're dealing with. The Bears are coming in with a 2-high defense, and they also run man occasionally. The Packers are going to run a nickel and an over and a 2-high also with a 4-3. The 4-3 being that Michael's going to be on one of those edges, and he can either come in and try to blitz, but that may also Taylor may make Michael pay for blitzing and settle down the blitz and dump off to the tight end right there when he come across that line. And Cole Kmet can get that ball. So anytime Cole Kmet is on the same side with Micah Parsons and they send Micah, they might can make them pay for that. There's some different avenues for the Bears to be able to put some points up. The question is, can they stop the Packers from scoring? Or they can't stop them. Division game, Caleb Williams playing great. I'm going with the Bears for an upset. I'm going with the Bears for upset. I think they want it more. I think they want it more. The Packers are more than capable of winning this game, and they're warriors. But I think that the Bears ultimately win this battle in this dogfight, and that's just going to be my perception. I could be completely wrong, and that's okay. If you don't like the taking the Bears, take the Bears points at least. Take field goals as well. This might be over 2.5 field goals with these two type of defenses. Might be over 2.5. It is a division game. They're gonna play hard in the red zone, so I would like over 2.5 field goals in this game as well. Um, Take a screenshot of this. Use it for your player props. Use it for other research that you need to do as well. But that's where I'm at with this game. Go Bears! All right, so we're gonna do something different this time. Normally, I just tell y'all, and y'all see the graphic that's on over to the far left, and I show y'all the games, and the green are the ones that I usually go with. But I'm gonna run down this slate and tell you what I ultimately like for the entire game. And then I meant for the entire slate, and I also made these bets already that I'm going to tell you, right? So for some of the games, they weren't paying enough for me to take the money line or whatever position I thought. So I found something else so I can have something on that game. But here is that particular ticket, okay? I'm going to run this down and you can take screenshots of it to create your version of how you think it's going to be. But this is ultimately what I see. So first, I'm going with the Commanders. Uh, um, and I'm also going with for the Miami game, I'm going with the Jets over 16.5 points. I think this is a trap game. I would go with the Jets for the money line, but I just didn't want to do it on this ticket. But I may do another ticket and take the Jets on the money line to beat the Dolphins. It seems like a trap game to me. The Dolphins are more than capable of winning this game, but I just think that something hanky happens and the Jets ultimately pull this game out in the very end. Um, Titans and the Browns. I like the Browns to win that game. I ended up going with for the Browns game. I went with Tony Pollard for 50 yards rushing and receiving, and I went with the Browns to win the game. For the Steelers and the Ravens game. Steelers in the Ravens game, I ended up going with 25 for Mark Andrews receiving yards and 15 yards Pat Fryermuth. Gave me some nice plus G's. It brought me back above that for that game. Um, who do I think is going to win? I think the Ravens end up winning that game. I just didn't like the price for it. That's why I went and did some props to try to make something better than the price they were giving out on the money line. The Steelers are going to come in and it's going to be a physical game because it's just a hard, tough division game. But uh, I just couldn't go with them. Aaron Rodgers and them are not looking good enough, and he has some weapons, but it's just not clicking for them. I think that the Steelers will win the second game in Pittsburgh, but this game, much needed win for the Ravens, even though Lamar is running real gingerly. Um, I just think that they overpower and they persevere through this and they end up winning the game, maybe even a field goal to win. Seahawks in the Falcons game, I ended up going with Seahawks minus 3.5, and I went with AJ Barner for 25 yards receiving. Okay, so that's what I like with this game. Yes, I like the Seahawks to win the game, but I went ahead and took the spread. But I took an alternate spread. Colts and the Jags. The data says that I should go with the Colts. I ended up going with what did I end up doing with for this game? I ended up going with the Jags to win this game. That may not be the most popular thing to do, but that's just what I see in this game. Um, for the Saints and the Bucks, I like the Bucks to win the game. Wasn't paying me enough, so I made my own game out of this one, and I ended up going with Godwin for 25 yards receiving, Cade Otton for 25 yards receiving, and the Bucks minus 5.5. Gave me a nice plus 242. Okay. Um Bengals and the Bills game. For the Bengals and the Bills, I ended up going with the Bengals to win. I just took the money line. It was plus cheese, and I'm sold on the Bengals to win. I know that they might not. I'm okay with being wrong, but something tells me that this is going to be a trap game of all trap games, and they're going to pull this out. Um, Broncos and the Raiders. Obviously, I like the Broncos to win. They're not paying anything for that, so I ended up going with 210 passing for Bo Nix, and I went with over 20.5 for team points for the Broncos as well. For the Bears and the Packers game, I like the Bears to win that game. I know the Packers are pretty good and their defense is solid, and I do know that Romadunze is out, but I think they got enough to make this happen. Caleb Williams is a decent quarterback and he has other weapons. I like the Bears to win this game. I just took the money line. It was plus 260. I could be completely wrong, and that's okay. I'm going to round robin this as well, but this is also going in as a straight bet. Okay. Um, Rams and the Cardinals. For that game, I ended up going with I went with 40 yards receiving for Devontae Adams, and I went with 70 yards rushing and receiving for Kyron Williams. Okay. For the Texans and the Chiefs game, nail biter. Which way do we go? Which way do we go? Which way do we go? For the Chiefs game, I ended up with going only over 3.5 field goals. I could not take anything else. I wanted to do Travis Kelsey. I wanted to do Rashee Rice. I wanted to do CJ Stroud for passing. I wanted to do a lot, but I had to sit myself down and be disciplined and just not do anything with that game. Not touching the Eagles game in this one, but who do I think is going to win the Eagles game? Not quite sure. Chargers can, but Justin Herbert got some things going on injury wise, and I'm not sure if he can figure it out. The Eagles may finally unleash Saquon Barkley. Good game. I'm gonna have another video for Monday Night Football, but on the preliminary, that's what I think for this game. All right. So what I did for this particular ticket is this is my round robin. Okay. You're looking at it in the form of a straight parlay. I just put 20 cents on this as a parlay. I don't care if the parlay hit. I put some decent money on this ticket for the round robin. You choose your threshold of what you're willing to put on it. Um, but it's a really balanced ticket. I think it's pretty good. I know I usually give y'all the grid of the round robin and tell y'all what to go and pick. But again, I'm trying to let this be a teachable moment for everybody about round robins. So with this particular strategy I have, I'm just basically choosing things that I think are going to happen in this game, regardless of who wins or who loses. And there are some that I went ahead and jumped off the porch and said I think that they're going to win. But this is how this round robin goes. Again, this is a round robin, not a super parlay. Feel free to do whatever you want to do with it, whether it's taking a couple of games out of this ticket or if it is, in fact, doing the whole thing, doing half of it, doing one thing. Do whatever you want to do with it. Screenshot it, do whatever. I'm telling you what I did, and this is what also is a really good strategy for a round robin, and I do very well with round robins. They're very profitable for me every day in whatever sport that I'm partaking in. Okay, so for this ticket, I went with Money line for the Ravens and Kenneth Gainwell, 30 yards rushing. That's the first game. Second game for the Broncos and the Raiders, I got Evan Ingram, 30 yards receiving. Adam Topman over one reception, over a half a reception. So that's just one time he got to catch the ball. And Bo Nix, 225 yards passing. TJ Hawkinson, 3.5 receptions, over 2.5 field goals for the whole entire game. I also went with Chase Brown, 75 rushing plus receiving, and Dalton Kincaid to score a touchdown for the Bengals in the Bills game. I know it's going to be snow, but I like Kincaid for an easy dump off into the end zone, whether it snows or whether it doesn't. It's just a close target. Um, you can take Kincaid for yards as well because I think he's going to have a good game because of the conditions. Jonathan Taylor, 100 yards rushing and receiving. Trevor Lawrence, 20 yards rushing. Alec Pierce for 40 yards receiving in the Colts and the Jazz game. Jags should be able to pull this win out. Injuries on the Colts side may prevent them from being like as good as they can be and what we've seen all season. And maybe they overcome that adversity and they really shine. But we're going to find out in this game. But that's what I like for that game. Then I went with Devon Achane, 100 yards rushing and receiving. And I went with over 2.5 field goals in this game and over 19.5 points for the Dolphins. Okay. Then I went with Jackson Smith Enigma for a touchdown. I went over 2.5 field goals for the entire game for the Seahawks and the Falcons, and I went with AJ Barner for 30 yards receiving, and then I went with Cole Kmet for 2 receptions. I went with over 2.5 field goals made, and I went with over 16.5 points for the Bears. Okay, I'm heavy on the Bears to win this one, but this was a way to get in and still take advantage of the value um, without having to actually bet the money line. But that's what I like for this round robin. Round robin. Say it with me. Round robin on my Dr. Umar. Say it 3 times, right? Say it 3 times. Round robin, right? Like Candyman. Say it 3 times and the money will appear when you turn the lights out. Trust me. This is the best strategy to go where you don't really have to be too stressed about hitting or not hitting. You're going to hit. You're going to hit a little bit or you're going to hit a lot. But at least you're going to get paid for your efforts incrementally based on the threshold of the risk. So round robin. All right. Let's look at the second round robin I gave you as a bonus bet and get you guys out of here. All right, guys. So here's the second round robin that I have for you in the bonus bet. Again, round robin. I can't stress it enough. Okay. How we're going to play this particular strategy is we're going to start with Debo Samuels for anytime touchdown. That's all I'm putting on that game. Okay. Next game up, we're going with the Seahawks for -3.5. We're going with Bijan for 25 yards receiving, and we're going with Sam Darnold for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Then we're going to go with the Bengals for +1.5, right? And then we're going to go with Joe Burrow for 10 yards rushing. We're going to go with Tony Pollard, 50 yards rushing and receiving, and Jerry Jeudy receiving yards at 25, over 25. Then we're going to go with the Bears, um, over 15.5 points in that game and 40 yards for DeAndre Swift. Right? We still gotten value out of that game without having to go all the way with the chart with the Bears to win. I did take the Bears on a different ticket. Okay. But for the sake of this round robin, we don't need to add them. We don't need that extra value. Okay. Then we're gonna go with the Dalton Schultz 40 yards receiving, Xavier Worthy 3 receptions, and we're going with Patrick Mahomes for over 220 in passing. Okay. Then we're gonna go with Trey Harris over 15 yards receiving for the Chargers, and we're gonna go with Devontae Smith for over 4 receptions. And last but not least, we have the Denver game, and we're going with Denver -4.5, and we're going to go with RJ Harvey 60 yards receiving and rushing. So that's this particular round robin. Okay. Round robin, I can't say it enough. Not super parlay. You do whatever you want to do in the end, but I'm just giving you what I think works best based off of the data, based off of my research, based off of the probabilities, based off of my track record of monitoring what works and what doesn't work. Okay. I'm sure you have your thoughts and they're valid. And I would love to hear about those in the comment section. Tell me what games that you like or you don't like, or what tickets that I chose that may be more problematic than others. I don't mind. I'm trying to get to the bag. That's it. No feelings, no emotions, just strictly business. Okay. That's what helps this community grow and help all of us be better than we are, so that we all can hit and make money, and also make tickets that will help us look back at them and say, I should have did this. Oh, I should have did that. I'm also going to make some tickets where I'm duplicating these 2 round robins I just showed you, and I'm going to duplicate the tickets in those platforms, because you see these in 2 different platforms. I'm going to duplicate them, and then I'm going to take some under bets and mix some under bets in those round robins as well. I'm gonna keep the same people, but I'm just gonna switch it to an under, because it might be the scenario where they don't get the over. And unders hit more statistically. Data statistically, unders hit more. You have a higher probability of hitting the under than you do an over. Okay, just off of statistics. I'll do another show about that in the books, and how many bets they put out per game and how many players. I'll do all that later. I know all of this data. I'm just trying to help you and be your tour guide through this jungle. Okay. But that's what I have for this round robin. I hope that had some value for you. Have fun with that. It should be pretty good. And then once you do the round robin do all combinations. All combinations for this one, all combinations for the other one. It's not gonna cost you that. Like you can go as low as like 10 cents all combinations and probably come out around 24, $25. Spend the 25 on this to make probably like up to $14,000, up to 14,000, right, in round robin, and you might walk away with $1,300 for $25 versus putting 25 on a 2-3 leg parlay and only 2 things hit, and you get nothing. At least you're getting something. And sometimes you get more than something, you get a lot. Like, this is my profit margin every day. Literally, I'm making profit margins off of round robins, and I want you to do the same. So that's what I got. Let's get out of here and let me wrap things up for the show. So, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, that brings us to the end of the show. I hope you guys found value in the show. I hope you liked it. If you didn't, I'll try and be better on the next episode, and take your thoughts into consideration. But if you did find value in today's show, please like, comment, share, or subscribe. For my new people, like I said, I hope that this was a new take on the games and a new set of eyes. And I just like to base it off of the data and the information versus just a gut feeling, right? Because our lion eyes can deceive us a lot. And in this climate of the NFL at this stage of week 14, when games count and division game, like, we got so many division and conference games that you just will overlook some stuff, and then next thing you know, you just lost a bet because you didn't see it coming. So hopefully we can help with giving you more information to not get caught with your pants down. But anyway, happy hunting, happy researching, and let's get a bag, and let's get some Christmas money, and let's get some extra money, and let's just get some. That's right. Yeah. Let's get that type of money. You know what I mean? And like, really enjoy it. I hope you guys do as well. I'm rooting for you. I hope you're rooting for me as well. But if you found some value, I have some other shows that are right here. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Game time, let's break it all down. From the spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way.